What up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. You're now tuning in my podcast, Difficult People Chronicles. I'm seriously forgets Johnny, SF Johnny. Today's episode is called Satan's Attack, Part 3, and the message, Sight. This episode is not only about spiritual sight, but also natural sight. I'm going to talk heavily about the spiritual sight and connect the two. So, in this season, the reason why I said it's also a message as well is because in this season the enemy is attacking people's sight. Yes, God's message, like I always say, could come from anywhere, and Satan tries to stop that. The devil, Satan, your enemies on this earth are not trying to mess with people who are in the world. No, they messing with those that are trying to stick with God, go to God, seek God. Those are the ones that the devil and Satan is trying to destroy. There are different areas when it comes to senses, but and spiritual warfare, but I'm gonna talk about sight. When the enemy strikes, it's usually in the areas we would never think of. In the beginning, God will give you a promise, a message, and you know what it looks like in the end. It's the in between area, is where you have to have the faith and not doubt God, because He already told you the promise. It's the in between area where the spiritual warfare is, where the enemy will try to instill doubt in you. It's the in between area where the enemy will try to blind you so you don't get what's at the end. And it's in the in between area where God will want you to do some things. hmm Well, spiritual sight is what the enemy is trying to destroy. If he can blind your sight, you walk in darkness, you'll be blind. hmm And like I say, it starts in the spiritual and then it happens in the natural on earth. So in the spiritual, it will be where you don't get your warnings in a dream. In the natural, for example, God forbid you get into an accident. Spiritually, you can be consumed with what's around you, where you could become spiritually weak, you could be in total chaos, and then in the natural, you miss your blessings. Spiritually, your spirit is raveled, and then in the natural, you have no peace. Spiritually, you're not focused on what God said, what His word is, and then all of a sudden, you get confused. And you was never like that. Because you're confused, you think that it's just a phase and you don't pray about it. And it interferes with you in the natural, like your mental state of mind and your focus. And you could start to doubt. The in between area. You start to have doubt about whatever God said. Like, is He really going to give you what He say He's going to give you at the end? So remember, like I say all the time, whatever happens in the spiritual manifests in the natural here on earth. Physical sight is tied to spiritual sight, what God shows you. Ask God, here's a tip, ask God to let all your blessings He has for you to be seen through your spiritual and natural sight and not be blocked, covered, or pass you by. Ask Him to protect you spiritually and your spiritual and natural sight, and to let His messages be known to you without interference. hmm And you pray about that on a daily basis. Every time you sense something, or before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, ask God to let all your blessings He has for you to be seen through your spiritual and natural sight and not be blocked, covered, or pass you by. Ask Him to protect you spiritually and your spiritual and natural sight, and to let His messages be known to you without interference. So, this episode is about sight in general and what happens when you cannot see In this case, the enemy is trying to destroy your sight. So you do not make it to what God promised. Make it to do his assignment. Make it to have peace. Yeah. Make it to see all his blessings rain down on you. So, the example, I wanted to find something in the Bible that dealt with spiritual sight. And I found something that dealt with natural sight. And I'm going to tie it into spiritual sight. So, in Genesis chapter 27, Isaac was old in age and he couldn't see. And he called his older son Esau to go hunt, prepare him some food, bring it back to him, and he will bless him before he died. Now, Rebecca was listening to Isaac when he spoke to Esau, and she went and told Jacob, her son, what the conversation between Isaac and Esau. And she told Jacob to go prepare some food and go hunt, prepare some food, bring it back to him so he could eat and bless him before he died. And Jacob said to his moms that basically Esau is hairy, I have smooth skin, and if my father touches me, it will be like I'm tricking him and he will bring down a curse on him rather than bless him. And his mother said, let the curse be on me and do as I said, basically. So Rebecca, she took the best clothes from Esau, her older son, and put them on her younger son, Jacob, and covered his hands and the smooth part of his neck. Then she handed her son the food, and he was off to go to his father. So basically, she disguised him. He went to his father and basically said that he was his firstborn. And when Isaac asked Jacob if he was really Esau, Jacob lied and said, yes, I'm Esau. And Isaac was like, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. It says that he did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. And he proceeded to bless Jacob. So he blessed the wrong son. Yep. So I'm going to read to you all the blessing. It starts at verse 28. It says, may God give you heaven's dew and earth richness, and abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you, and people bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed. And after Isaac finished blessing him, Jacob left, and his brother came back from hunting, and he was upset because the blessing was supposed to be for him. So that example from the Bible that I took is an example when one of your five senses goes bad and you cannot depend or rely on your other senses because you can still make the wrong decision. And that's why you need God. When it comes to spiritual sight, the enemy will try to destroy it in the spiritual so that everything pertaining to sight in the natural is destroyed. But like I said, there is a God, and he will give you a message, and it could come from anywhere. So while you praying about sight, for example, I'm just saying, if you stop dreaming, you still pray that God still delivers his message by different means while your dreams are restored. So I want to talk about natural sight. God could send you, and this is an example that somebody had where they had a dream and God gave them a warning about sight, but they really couldn't make out the dream and too good. And what I said to them is pray about sight in general, because in this season the enemy's trying to destroy your sight. He knows that you are that close to your breakthrough, and that's what he's trying to destroy is your sight, so you lose focus. So I'm gonna give you an example of what it looked like. You can have blurred vision, yeah, where in your dream you see there's a message but you can't make it out, or You get a message from God in the natural, and like say a few weeks or a month ago, you get a message, and you go back to that window to go, because you know there was a message in that window that was pertaining to you and whatever situation you was going through, but you can't remember exactly what it is, so you go back to the window, and then when you get there, out of 10 letters, only 3 is hanging in that window. So now you can't get the message. And then you can't make out the message in the spiritual realm because it was blurry. So you couldn't really make it out in your dream to talk about it in the natural. Block vision is where your enemy blocks your dreams, where you stop dreaming and receive God's warnings or messages. That's why when, I hear of a lot of people say things like, oh, I don't dream. And I'm like, you should. You should. Yeah, you got to pray about that. Lost vision is where God sends an angel to give you a message, but it comes to you, and then for some reason, you wake up and you reach for a piece of paper to write it down, and just like that, you can't remember for the life of you that message. It's just, you can't recall it, nothing. Or God sends you a message and you get partial dream and then it stops. Another one is deceived sight. So, and this is in the natural, where, well, spiritual and natural, where God gives you a message of who is the person to come to you in a relationship. And then in natural, all these people come to you. All these people, relationship wise, looking like a Esau, but it's really a Jacob. And you make the wrong choice, or vice versa. You meet the right person, but they look wrong. Confused sight is when you think you saw what you saw, but you say something like, "Oh, is my eyes playing tricks on me?" And it's in situations where in your dreams they come all jumbled up. Like one minute you dream about a banana, next minute you dream about a glass cup, next minute you dream about hair lotion, next minute you dream about tweezers, a pencil, a ruler, crumble paper, the number 4, blue paint, and cabinets. And it's all jumbled up, and the dream is going so fast, it's going so fast that you wake up and you just like, what in the world was that dream about? Confused sight. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to be sober minded, because in this season the enemy on earth is gonna be mad if you make it to receive God's blessings. And for some of y'all gotta persevere, because God is sending his blessings to you. And in the spiritual realm, it's that in between area, the enemy is giving you a fight of your life, because he really wants you to have doubt. If you have doubt and you don't persevere, trust me, he will relax. You don't press on, you have doubt, you sit there and doubt God's promise, the enemy is going to relax. But you ain't going to get your blessings. Trust me, you're not. You will be in captivity till infinity. So remember that. Blurred vision. And blurred vision can also be where, let's say, everything is fine with your eyesight, your regular eyesight, then all of a sudden you feel like you can't see straight, or, you know, something else is going on, like you feel like you got allergies, and there's nothing, you never had allergies in your life. You go to the eye doctor and the eye doctor saying nothing wrong with you. Pray about your vision, because it could be a situation where the enemy don't want you to do nothing, period, so he's going to mess with your sight. Or let's say because your eyes is irritated, you have a headache and you always want to go to sleep, instead of doing your assignment. The enemy's trying to mess with your vision. Block vision, where block vision will be where you're supposed to receive messages from God about your health or something you've been praying about, and then the enemy don't want you to receive it because he wants you to stop praying and have doubt. Another one, a lost vision, is you don't dream at all, or you get that partial dream, a lost dream. You get little teeny bits and pieces of that dream, and then it stops. So something could happen where, God forbid, the enemy's trying to attack, and then you strike back at the enemy, but then it cuts off. Like you see your hand swing, but then the dream cuts off. It just stops. So you don't even know if you defeated your enemy or nothing. And like I said, deceive sight. You get all these people coming at you, even family, pretending to be good-hearted people, and it's messing up with your discernment and everything else. Confused sight could put you in a position where you feel so confused that you don't do nothing at all, and you might have to make a move. Like God has it where you in position to make a move, but because you're confused, you do nothing at all, and that either delays your blessings, or you don't reach to where you're supposed to go. Go to God in prayer. And what was it? It was what I said. When I said ask God to let all your blessings He has for you to be seen through your spiritual and natural sight, and not be blocked, covered, or pass you by. Ask Him to protect you spiritually and your spiritual and natural sight, and to let His messages be known to you without interference. That's something that you can put to memory and just say on a daily basis or whenever something crazy comes up. So that's it for today. For more, sign up for a session if you want to work on strengthening your spirituality. And like I said, I give homework and projects. So don't think I'm going to do all the work for you. This is about you elevating, you becoming spiritually strong, you connecting to God, you being your best self, you being at peace. And check me out on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification, check out my store, and everything is underneath, all the links and everything. Have a blessed week, y'all. Later.